The deep quiet of space was broken by a soft peep. Commander Do-hyun Kim looked up from his screen. His eyes were tired after 12 hours of patrol duty in the outer reaches of the Andromeda system. "What is that?" he asked. Communications specialist Tae-hyun Choi pressed his finger to his earpiece. His face changed from bored to surprised. "Sir, we are picking up a distress signal. But it's strange." Do-hyun walked over to Tae-hyun's station. The small scout ship, Earth Vessel Pioneer, had only 3 crew members. They were supposed to patrol this area for 2 more days before heading back to Earth Base Alpha. "Strange how?" Do-hyun asked. "The signal isn't using any Earth code. And it's not from any alien allies we know either." Engineer Minji Park joined them, her dark hair tied back in a neat bun. "Could be a trap," she said. "Remember what happened to the Jakarta mission last year?" Do-hyun nodded. Everyone in the Earth Space Corps knew that story. A ship answered a fake distress call and never returned. "Play the signal," Do-hyun ordered. Tae-hyun tapped a few buttons. A sound filled the bridge that made them all freeze. It wasn't mechanical like most distress calls. It sounded almost like crying. "What is that?" Minji whispered. "I don't know," Tae-hyun said. "The computer can't match it to any known species." Do-hyun stood straight, making his decision. "Where is it coming from?" Tae-hyun checked his screen. "About 3 hours from here at top speed, near the gas giant Epsilon 4. "Sir," Minji said, "protocol says we should report this to command and wait for orders." She was right. That was the rule. Any unknown contact was to be reported. No exceptions. "How long would it take to get a response from command?" Do-hyun asked. "At least 5 hours," Tae-hyun said. "Maybe more with the current solar flare activity." The crying sound played again. Something about it touched Do-hyun deep inside. Whatever was making that sound was in real pain. "Plot a course to the signal," Do-hyun ordered. "Sir." Minji's eyes widened. "That's against protocol." "I know." Do-hyun met her gaze. "But someone or something needs help. We can't wait 5 hours." "Could be dangerous," Tae-hyun warned. "Most rescues are," Do-hyun said. "Send a message to command telling them what we found and what we're doing. Then set course for the signal." Minji and Tae-hyun shared a look. They had served with Do-hyun for 3 years. He never broke rules without good reason. "Yes, sir," Tae-hyun said finally. As the engines powered up, Do-hyun returned to his seat. The crying sound played again, softer this time, like whatever was making it was getting weaker. "Hang on," he whispered. "We're coming." The Pioneer turned and accelerated toward the signal. Its small frame shuddered as it pushed to maximum speed. Do-hyun looked out at the stars streaking past. In 15 years of space service, he had never heard a distress call like this. Whatever they found, he knew one thing for sure. This mission was about to change. Little did he know just how much it would change not only their lives, but the future of humanity itself. 3 hours later, the Pioneer slowed as it approached the gas giant Epsilon 4. The planet was huge, with swirling storms of yellow and orange clouds. It looked beautiful but deadly. "Signal source located," Tae-hyun said. His voice was tense. "It's coming from that." He pointed at the main screen. Do-hyun and Minji both stared in wonder. There, slowly falling into the thick clouds of the gas giant, was a ship unlike any they had ever seen. "That's not human," Minji whispered. "And not from any species we know." The ship was at least 3 times bigger than their own. Its shape was long and curved, like a leaf. The hull shimmered with colors that changed as they watched. Blue, then purple, then green. "What's it made of?" Do-hyun asked. Minji checked her instruments. "Unknown material. Nothing in our database matches it." The crying sound came again through their speakers, louder now that they were close. "The ship is sinking into the planet," Tae-hyun warned. "Sensors show it's losing power. The pressure will crush it in less than 2 hours." "Any response to our hails?" Do-hyun asked. No, sir. Just that same cry. Do-hyun made his decision. We're going to dock with it. What? Minji turned to him in shock. Commander, that's extremely risky. We don't know anything about that ship or who built it. There's someone alive in there, Do-hyun said firmly. We didn't come all this way to watch them die. This could be first contact with a completely new species, Tae-hyun added. The importance of that can't be measured. Minji looked between them, then nodded slowly. I'll prepare the docking procedures, but we should all wear full environment suits. Who knows what the air is like in there? 20 minutes later, the Pioneer was attached to the alien vessel. Finding a docking point had been hard, but Minji had managed to create a sealed connection on what they guessed was an airlock. Atmosphere inside is breathable for humans, Tae-hyun said, checking his scanner. But I still recommend keeping our helmets on. Do-hyun nodded. I'll go first. Tae-hyun with me. Minji, stay here and monitor our signals. If anything goes wrong, detach immediately and get back to Earth base. Yes, sir, she said, not looking happy about being left behind. The airlock opened. Do-hyun and Tae-hyun stepped into the alien ship. Inside was unlike anything they had seen before. The hallways curved and twisted in odd angles. The walls seemed to be partly metal and partly something living. They pulsed slightly like they were breathing. This wasn't built for humans, Tae-hyun said. His flashlight beam showed that the ceiling was much higher than needed for people, and the doorways were wide and arched. The design suggests a larger species, Do-hyun agreed. He touched one wall carefully. It felt warm, and maybe one that thinks very differently from us. A loud groaning sound echoed through the ship. The floor tilted slightly beneath their feet. The ship is sinking faster, Tae-hyun warned. We have less than 90 minutes now. Do-hyun listened carefully. The crying sound came again, clearer now. This way, he said, pointing down a long corridor where the light was dim but not completely dark. They walked forward into the alien ship, not knowing what they would find, but knowing they had to hurry before the gas giant swallowed everything. The deeper Do-hyun and Tae-hyun went into the alien ship. The stranger things became. A thick silver liquid was rising slowly along the floor. It looked like mercury, but gave off a soft blue glow. This doesn't look good, Tae-hyun said, stepping carefully to avoid touching the liquid. The ship must be taking on whatever makes up the atmosphere of the gas giant. They followed the crying sound, which grew louder with each turn. The hallways twisted in ways that made no sense to human minds. Sometimes they had to duck under low arches. Other times, the ceiling soared so high they couldn't see it with their flashlights. Commander, Tae-hyun whispered suddenly. Look. He pointed ahead. There, the hallway opened into a large round room filled with strange equipment. Screens with unknown symbols glowed dimly. This must be some kind of control room. And there, in the center, was the source of the crying. Do-hyun stepped forward slowly, his heart beating fast. The creature was unlike anything he had ever seen or imagined. It was shaped like a large earth leopard, but with 6 legs instead of 4. Its fur was pure white, glowing softly in the dim light. The creature had no visible eyes, just a smooth face with small breathing holes. It lay on its side, not moving except for its chest rising and falling with quick, shallow breaths. It's alive, Do-hyun said quietly, but injured. As they watched, the creature made the crying sound again. It was clearly a call for help. Can it see us? Tae-hyun wondered. As if in answer, the creature's head turned toward them. Though it had no eyes, Do-hyun felt sure it knew they were there. Then something incredible happened. Do-hyun felt a gentle touch in his mind, like a whisper. Help. Ship sinking. Others dead. Do-hyun gasped and stepped back. Did you hear that? Tae-hyun looked confused. Hear what? It spoke to me. In my mind. Do-hyun moved closer to the creature again. It's telepathic. The creature's breathing quickened. The voice in Do-hyun's mind came again, stronger this time. I am Siuk, navigator, Kirin species. Attacked. Paralyzed. Its name is Siuk, Do-hyun said to Tae-hyun. It says it's a navigator, and that they were attacked. It can't move. How much does it weigh? Tae-hyun asked, looking at the large animal-like being. We need to decide if we can move it. Do-hyun knelt beside Siuk, careful not to touch the rising silver liquid that was now ankle-deep. We're humans, he said out loud, wondering if Siuk could understand speech or only thoughts. We're here to help you. The telepathic voice came again. Thank you. Ship failing. Not much time. Tae-hyun checked his scanner. Commander, his creature weighs about 300 pounds. We can't carry it. The ship groaned again. The floor tilted more steeply. We need to get back to Minji, Do-hyun decided. We need a plan. What about Siuk? Tae-hyun asked. Do-hyun looked at the large white creature. Its breathing was getting weaker. We're not leaving without it. I'll stay here. You go back and tell Minji what we found. We need a way to move Siuk back to our ship. Tae-hyun nodded and hurried back the way they had come. Alone with the alien, Do-hyun placed his hand gently on its white fur. Hold on, Siuk, he said quietly. We'll get you out of here. Tae-hyun returned 15 minutes later with Minji. Her eyes went wide when she saw Siuk. It's real, she whispered. An actual alien life form. The silver liquid was now up to their knees. It was cold and made their suit alarms beat softly. This liquid is toxic, Minji warned. Our suits can protect us for about an hour, but then they'll start to break down. Do-hyun nodded. We need to move Siuk to our ship now. Any ideas? Minji looked at the large white creature. She walked around it, thinking hard. I might be able to make a hover stretcher, she said. I can use parts from the alien ship and some equipment from our emergency kit. How long will that take? Do-hyun asked. 20 minutes, maybe 30. She was already pulling tools from her belt. But even if I make it, the way back to our ship is filling with this liquid. We'll need another route. Tae-hyun raised his hand. Commander, I found something while coming back with Minji. There's a room full of screens and what look like data storage units. I think it's their version of a computer room. Ship records? Do-hyun asked. Maybe. And maybe a map too. Do-hyun looked at Siuk, then back to Tae-hyun. Show me. They left Minji to work on the hover stretcher. Tae-hyun led Do-hyun down a different hallway to a small room lined with glowing panels. Unlike the control room, this space was dry. The silver liquid hadn't reached it yet. What do we do? Do-hyun asked. We can't read their language. Maybe Siuk can help, Tae-hyun suggested. If it can talk to you telepathically, maybe it can guide us. The ship rocked suddenly. Both men grabbed the walls to stay standing. We're running out of time, Do-hyun said. He touched one of the screens. To his surprise, it lit up, showing symbols flowing across it. Back in his mind, he felt Siuk's presence again. Ship logs, science mission. We were studying the gas giant, attacked without warning. Do-hyun closed his eyes, trying to focus on the telepathic link. Siuk, we need another way back to our ship. The hallways are filling with liquid. In his mind, he saw a flash of the ship's layout. It was complex, with many levels. There was another path, through what seemed like living areas. Got it, Do-hyun said. Tae-hyun, there's another way. Through the crew quarters. Wait, Tae-hyun said. He was looking at another screen. I think this shows what attacked them. The screen showed a dark shape, like a cloud but moving with purpose. Not a ship, Do-hyun realized. Some kind of living thing. Whatever it is, it's still out there, Tae-hyun said. We need to be careful when we leave. They hurried back to Minji. She had made good progress on the hover stretcher, using parts from the ship's own systems. Almost done, she said, Her face was wet with sweat inside her helmet. Just need to connect the power source. Do-hyun knelt beside Seok again. The white alien's breathing was more labored now. "Stay with us," he said. "We're going to get you out." "My people." Peaceful. Seok's voice in his mind was weaker. "Thank you for coming." The ship shuddered again. A loud tearing sound came from somewhere deep in the vessel. "Hurry," Do-hyun told Minji. "This ship won't last much longer." The hover stretcher was finally ready. Minji had built it using parts from the alien ship and items from their own emergency kit. It floated a few inches above the silver liquid, humming softly. "Good work," Do-hyun said as they carefully moved Seok onto the stretcher. The white alien was heavy, but with all three humans working together, they managed it. As they touched Seok, something unexpected happened. Images flashed in all their minds. They saw scenes from another world, a planet with 3 moons and vast forests of tall purple trees. They saw cities built in harmony with nature, structures that seemed to grow from the ground rather than being built on it. "What was that?" Minji asked, her voice shaking. "Seok is sharing memories with us," Do-hyun said, "showing us its home." More images came as they secured Seok to the stretcher. They saw Kirin society, thousands of the Leopard-like aliens living peacefully. Unlike Seok, most had fur in shades of gold and brown. They saw how the white color of Seok made it different, special. "Albino," Taehyun said suddenly. "Seok is an albino among its kind. Rare, special ability." Seok's voice came into their minds. Stronger telepathy, but weaker body. The ship groaned again. The silver liquid was now waist-high in the control room. "We need to move," Do-hyun ordered. "Taehyun, lead the way through the crew quarters. That's our best chance." They pushed the hover stretcher into the hallway. Seok was conscious but very weak. As they moved, more memories flowed from the alien to the humans. They learned that the Kirin were a peaceful species with amazing biological science, but limited space travel. Most of their technology was partly living, grown rather than built. Their ships were as much alive as they were machines. "Our songs. Important," Seok shared weakly. "I am keeper of old songs, stories of our people." Do-hyun understood then that Seok was not just any navigator. It was a cultural preservationist, carrying the collective memories of its people. They reached the crew quarters, a large area with strange nest-like beds, built for bodies different from human ones. The silver liquid had not reached this level yet, giving them a clear path. "We're making good progress," Taehyun said. "If we keep this pace, we might make it." Minji checked her scanner. "The toxic liquid is rising faster now. We have maybe 30 minutes before it reaches this level." As they moved through the alien living space, Do-hyun felt more memories from Seok. He experienced moments of the alien's life, learning to navigate the stars, being chosen as a songkeeper because of its special telepathic gifts, the sadness of being different due to its white fur. "Your difference is your strength," Do-hyun thought back to Seok. "Just like human differences make us stronger as a whole." Seok's mind voice seemed a bit stronger in response. "Yes, we are. The same in this." The connection between them was growing. Do-hyun realized that this wasn't just a rescue mission anymore. This was first contact between two species who might have more in common than anyone could have guessed. "Commander," Minji called from ahead. "I can see the way back to our ship. But there's a problem." "What's the problem?" Do-hyun asked, joining Minji at the front. She pointed ahead. The hallway that led back to their ship had collapsed. A mass of twisted metal and strange organic material blocked their path completely. "Can we go around?" Taehyun asked. Minji shook her head. "Not on this level, and the lower levels are already flooded with that silver liquid." They all fell silent, thinking. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. "We have maybe 20 minutes before this whole section breaks apart," Minji said. Taehyun looked at his scanner. There may be another way. We could go through the ship's core, where the main engines are. There's an access tunnel that might lead back to where our ship is docked. But, Do-hyun asked, knowing there had to be more. But someone would need to manually open the safety doors. The ship's systems are failing, and it would take several minutes of exposure to the engine radiation. Minji stepped forward. I'll do it. No, Do-hyun said firmly. That level of radiation exposure would be fatal. We don't have a choice, Minji argued. Seok will die if we stay here, and the knowledge it carries could be priceless to humanity. As they argued, Seok's weak voice entered their minds. Another way. I can help. They all turned to look at the white alien on the hover stretcher. I can use telepathy to connect with ship. It is partly alive. Can redirect power, open new path. You can control the ship with your mind. Taehyun asked in amazement. Not control. Ask. We work together. Seok's mental voice was strained. But will take all my strength. May damage my mind. Permanently. Do-hyun understood what Seok was offering. The alien would sacrifice its own mental well-being to save them all. No, Do-hyun said. There has to be another way. I won't let anyone sacrifice themselves. Minji put her hand on his arm. Commander, you can't just. Wait, Do-hyun interrupted. I have an idea. He closed his eyes, focusing on his connection with Seok. Can you teach me to communicate with the ship? Just enough to ask it for help. Seok was quiet for a moment. Then, possible, but dangerous for human mind. Not designed for this. I'll take that risk, Do-hyun said. Show me how. Taehyun and Minji watched as Do-hyun placed his hand on the wall of the ship. His face was tight with concentration. Through Seok's guidance, Do-hyun felt his mind expand. He could sense the ship around them, not as a machine, but as a living thing in pain. It was dying, but still fighting to survive. Please, Do-hyun thought to the ship, we need a path back to our vessel. We want to save Seok. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the wall next to them began to change. It seemed to soften and pull back, revealing the narrow tunnel. It's making the way for us, Taehyun said in awe. Hurry, Do-hyun gasped. His nose was bleeding from the strain. I can't hold this connection for long. They pushed the hover stretcher into the new tunnel. It was just wide enough for them to pass through. The walls pulsed with a soft light, showing them the way forward. They moved as fast as they could, knowing that both the ship and Do-hyun were at their limits. The tunnel led them through parts of the ship that no one was meant to see. They passed what looked like the heart of the vessel, a glowing blue core that pulsed slowly, growing dimmer with each beat. Do-hyun struggled to maintain the connection with the ship. His head felt like it was splitting open, but he refused to let go. Their lives depended on it. The ship is dying, he said through gritted teeth. It's using the last of its energy to help us. Minji checked her scanner while pushing the hover stretcher. We're getting close to where our ship is docked. Just a little farther. They had to pause when another violent shake rocked the alien vessel. Parts of the ceiling fell around them. Commander, you need to let go of the connection, Taehyun said, seeing the pain on Do-hyun's face. You're pushing yourself too hard. Not yet, Do-hyun insisted. Blood now trickled from his ears as well as his nose. Seok's voice came weakly into all their minds. His mind. Not made for this. Ship connection too strong. What can we do? Minji asked, worried for her commander. Seok's answer surprised them all. Join minds. Share the load. Without hesitation, Taehyun and Minji placed their hands on Do-hyun's shoulders. Instantly, they felt the strain of the connection with the ship, but spread between the three of them, it was manageable. Together, their minds linked with Seok and the ship. They could feel the vessel fighting to stay intact just long enough for them to escape. This way, Minji said suddenly, seeing a path in her mind that wasn't visible to her eyes. The ship is showing us. They turned down a new passage that opened before them. The tunnel walls glowed brighter, using precious energy to light their way. As they moved, Taehyun stared out a transparent section of the hull. "Look," he said. Below them, in the clouds of the gas giant, something moved. Massive shapes like tentacles reached up from the depths. They weren't natural cloud formations. They moved with purpose, reaching for the sinking ship. That's what attacked them, Taehyun realized. Not a ship. A life form living in the gas giant. The Kirin were studying it, Do-hyun said, seeing memories from Silk's mind. They didn't know it was intelligent or dangerous. They hurried on, now seeing their danger more clearly. The tentacle-like structures were closing in, as if trying to pull the ship down faster. "Almost there," Minji called. The tunnel opened into a final chamber. Across it, they could see the airlock where their ship was docked. But as they entered the chamber, the ship lurched violently. Part of the floor gave way, creating a gap between them and the airlock. "We can't jump that with the stretcher," Taehyun said. Do-hyun focused all his remaining strength on the ship. "Please," he thought, "one last help." The ship responded. Part of the wall extended, forming a bridge across the gap. But the material was thin and unstable. "It's the best the ship can do," Do-hyun said. "We need to cross quickly, one at a time." Taehyun went first to secure the other side. Then they carefully pushed the hover stretcher with Seok across. The bridge creaked and bent under the weight. Minji crossed next. As Do-hyun prepared to follow, the bridge began to collapse. "Commander!" Minji screamed as the bridge began to break apart under Do-hyun's feet. He jumped forward just as the makeshift path collapsed completely. His hands caught the edge of the opening. He hung there, dangling over the gap, with nothing but the depths of the alien ship below him. Taehyun dropped to his stomach and grabbed Do-hyun's wrists. "I've got you," he said through gritted teeth. "Minji, help me pull him up." Minji rushed to help, and together they hauled their commander to safety. There was no time to rest. The entire chamber was shaking now, pieces of the ceiling falling around them. "Get to the airlock," Do-hyun ordered between heavy breaths. They rushed to the connection point where the Pioneer was docked. But more problems waited for them there. "The docking clamps are failing," Minji said, checking the control panel. "The system is dead. We need to release them manually or our ship will go down with this one." "Where are the manual controls?" Taehyun asked. "Outside the airlock. Someone has to go out there." They all knew what that meant. Someone would have to put on a spacesuit and step outside onto the hull of the alien ship, which was now being pulled into the gas giant. "I'll go," Do-hyun said. Minji started to argue, but he cut her off. "You need to pilot the ship. Taehyun needs to monitor Seok. It has to be me." There was no time to debate. Do-hyun quickly put on his space helmet and checked his suit seals. "The manual release is a red lever on the left side of the docking port," Minji explained. "Pull it down and turn it clockwise. When the ship detaches, you'll have 30 seconds to get back inside before the airlock closes automatically," Taehyun added. Do-hyun nodded. "Get ready to launch the moment I'm back." He stepped into the airlock and sealed the inner door. As the air was pumped out, he took several deep breaths. Then he opened the outer door. The scene outside was terrifying. The massive gas giant filled most of his view. The alien ship was now tilted at a steep angle, its front half already disappearing into the swirling clouds below. The tentacle-like structures were wrapped around parts of the hull, pulling it down. Do-hyun carefully made his way along the outer hull to the docking clamps. The metal was hot under his gloved hands. He found the red lever and pulled with all his strength. It moved slowly, fighting him the whole way. "Come on," he muttered. Finally, the lever clicked into place. The docking clamps retracted with a mechanical groan. The Pioneer was free. Do-hyun turned to make his way back, but a violent shudder ran through the alien ship. The section of hull he was standing on cracked. He lost his footing and began to slide toward the edge. Inside the Pioneer, Minji and Taehyun watched in horror. "He's slipping," Taehyun shouted. Minji jumped into the pilot's seat. I'm going to try to position the ship to catch him. She fired the thrusters, moving the small human vessel along the side of the massive alien ship. It was like trying to fly a paper airplane next to a falling tree. Do-hyun managed to stop his slide by catching a piece of protruding metal, but he was still far from the airlock, and the hull was breaking up around him. Commander, Taehyun shouted through the comm system. The tether gun. Use the tether gun on your belt. Do-hyun had forgotten about the standard equipment on his spacesuit. He reached down and pulled out the small device designed to help astronauts move in space. He aimed at the open airlock of the Pioneer and fired. A thin cable shot out and latched onto the frame of the airlock. Do-hyun activated the retraction mechanism. The cable began to pull him toward safety. Just as he was halfway there, the alien ship gave a final violent shudder. The hull section where the cable was attached broke away. Do-hyun started to drift into space. He closed his eyes, thinking this was the end. Then something incredible happened. In his mind, he felt Seok's presence, stronger than ever before. Not finished yet. The hover stretcher suddenly appeared in the airlock doorway, with Seok still strapped to it. One of the alien's 6 legs extended, longer than should have been possible, reaching out toward Do-hyun. Taehyun stood behind Seok, his face showing total shock. Later, he would explain that the hover stretcher had moved on its own, pushing past him to the airlock. Do-hyun grabbed Seok's extended limb. With strength that seemed impossible for its weakened state, the alien pulled Do-hyun to safety. The moment Do-hyun was inside, Minji sealed the airlock and fired the engines at full power. The Pioneer pulled away just as the alien ship imploded behind them. The resulting shockwave hit them hard, damaging their engines and sending them tumbling through space. Engine 3 is down, Minji reported, fighting the controls. Power at 60%. Get us away from the gas giant, Do-hyun ordered, pulling off his helmet. We need to put some distance between us and whatever those tentacle things were. Once they were a safe distance away, they gathered around Seok. The white alien was very weak, but still alive. You saved my life, Do-hyun said softly. Thank you. We help each other, Seok replied in their minds. That is the way forward. 3 months later, at a secret Earth facility, Do-hyun walked down a bright hallway. His dress uniform was uncomfortable, but today was special. He entered a large room where Seok was waiting. The alien looked much better. Its white fur was shiny and healthy. Most importantly, it could now move its legs again. Recovery. Continuing well. Seok's telepathic voice was stronger now. The doctors say you'll be walking on your own in another month, Do-hyun said with a smile. Human doctors working with Seok had learned much from the alien's biology. In return, they had helped heal its paralysis using a combination of Earth medicine and the biological science that Seok taught them. The exchange had benefited both species. Humans gained knowledge about living technology that could change everything. The Kirin, Seok's people, gained protection from Earth's growing space fleet. A young officer entered the room and saluted. Commander Kim, the ambassador ship has arrived. They're ready for the welcome ceremony. Do-hyun nodded. After they had made it back to Earth with Seok, he had been promoted and made the first official ambassador to the Kirin. Today, the first official delegation from Seok's homeworld was arriving. Are you ready to meet your people again? Do-hyun asked Seok. Thanks to you. I have songs to share of human bravery. As they headed to the meeting room, alarms suddenly blared throughout the facility. Sir, the young officer said, his face pale. Long-range scanners have detected an unidentified fleet entering the solar system. It's massive. Do-hyun and Seok shared a look. They both knew what this meant. The mysterious attackers that had crippled Seok's ship had followed them to Earth. They found us, Do-hyun said. Yes, Seok replied. But this time, we faced them together. The story of how humanity had reached out to help a paralyzed albino alien leopard was just the beginning. Now, a much bigger challenge awaited them. But this time, they would not face it alone.